Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the podcast. I'm Brendan. I am here with John.
Bonjour. Or howdy.
Howdy.
So the other day I was having dinner with my lady friend, my companion, my life partner.
Yes.
Yeah. We were having some carrots and peas, and I spilled a couple peas on the table. And she said, "You have peed on the table."
Great.
On to the video.
On to the video. We have a special podcast for you today. We have an email. Somebody wrote in an email. This podcast is going to be about insights, effectiveness, breakthroughs, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu,
and possibly drugs.
Possibly drugs. Stay tuned. And it's all about use and value. So buckle up, Buttercup. We're going to finally stuff that you can fucking take home.
Finally things you care about.
Yes. The truth? No. Nobody gives a fuck about the truth, but being effective and powerful as a human being and being able to kick ass. Yeah. So, Levani, thanks for the email. Here you go, dude. Let's do it. We took some notes and wrote down a bunch of bullet points, but I guess we could let's start with Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. He does Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I've done some Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu a fair bit. John, I believe, has done more Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. And, what insights do we have for BJJ people?
Can we start by reading the question?
Oh, yeah, sure.
Yeah, because I want to hear the whole question, because I think it's a little bit more profound than just BJJ.
Oh, you mean the whole email?
Oh, no, just the question. Just want to have it fresh in my mind.
Oh, could you do a video on the insights and or realizations you have about BJJ, gi or no gi, that you learned from the Cheng Hsin work? Okay. That's about the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. And or other realizations about it in the use and value domain and also other domains if it applies. Maybe I did not read the question well. BJJ, gi, no gi, that you learned with a T. Levani, learned. like I'm turnt with a T. Learned from the Cheng Hsin work and or other realizations about it in the use and value domain and also in other domains if it applies. So I guess he's asking heavily about the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu domain.
Yeah, but he does say other domains too.
Yeah, other domains. So there's a lot of stuff that I've learned in the fighting domain that definitely I apply all over the place in normal life. But yeah, so what do you got, John? I think maybe you're better off.
Well, with Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, as far as Cheng Hsin goes, I think just learning new techniques and movement patterns and dynamics is enhanced by practicing a lot of Cheng Hsin, Tui Shao, because that stuff is extremely complex. Lots of moving parts, and not just moving parts, moving in conjunction with others, moving in relationship, continuous, ongoing relationship, unified through some kind of dynamic, like joining. And when you're picking up, and Jiu-Jitsu, of course, is extremely dynamic. The primary difference is that it doesn't have the constraint of, you can use your muscles. You can use a lot of force in Jiu-Jitsu. There's no constraint on that.
There's no effortless power there. In Jiu-Jitsu, you have to use your muscles, but
I think there's effortless power all over the place, but it's not. But you can't do it just that.
No, it's different. You can use that constriction strength.
Yeah, but you can do
in a relaxed way.
Well, like so here's some Cheng Hsin spots inside of Jiu-Jitsu for sure. You can do effortless guard passing. This is very possible.
Right.
Okay. It requires timing and sensitivity, feeling, awareness, precision, you
Precision, I was
know,
thinking, yeah.
and doesn't mean that you're always going to be passing effortlessly, but you can have that mindset of following or even leading someone, joining with their movements. Like you can try to embrace a principle in guard passing for sure.
Yeah.
I think it's probably similar to things like folding in like
I
somebody
could see
throws up.
some, I get like all of those. Like following, that lets you know where they are.
Hmm.
Leading is understanding I'm the target. If I move the target, they are, depending on what they want, they will change. So if I move, they change. I can affect a change just for one by moving. Manipulate them based on what they want. The folding part is if they like try to push on you, you fold around it because your body can mechanically fold around. You don't have to resist. Everybody's like blocky, but if somebody tries to force against force with you, you fold around it. Um,
Yeah,
yeah,
all of those,
and
and you
then
can
and precision. Exactly where are you putting your feet, where are you putting your hands, and then how do you move in?
yeah. um, all of that's there. Timing and weight distribution for like sweeps and very low throws are fundamentally the same as throws that you'd find in Cheng Hsin or judo.
Yeah,
Like
understanding
it's
balance,
yeah,
understanding where their center of mass is, and leverage.
yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
It reminds me of that time. You remember when we went to go train in Houston? Because John and I have both done a lot of martial arts, and we went to the F1, F3.
Oh,
You
something like
remember?
that. Yeah, F3. Yeah, yeah,
You
yeah.
remember? And we were doing
Yeah,
some stuff, and I remember the guy. Was his name Sean?
yeah.
Yeah, and he was teaching us, and I'm sure for Sean, having John and I in there was a breath of fresh air because when he told us to do something, we could just fucking do it right away. And he's like, "Oh my god, you guys learn so fast." Part of that is we've done a lot of martial arts. Another part of that, we've done a lot of Cheng Hsin. And I think one of the things that helps with that learning stuff is Cheng Hsin, even though it doesn't look like hardcore MMA or Brazilian Jiu Jitsu, the fact that we're moving around so much in 3D space, having to be aware of where our bodies are in relationship to other bodies just as a whole, I think,
Mm.
as you mentioned right away, that really has an impact on our ability to learn new stuff with our body way better. That's just one thought.
I feel like there's so many little insights into grappling and to jujitsu that I almost just want to like bullet point them and just keep going because
There's too
it's
much
like,
stuff.
yeah, there's so much stuff,
Well,
but like
yeah, fire away, man. Like,
fire away. Okay, so
yeah,
here's
just
here's one thing.
bullet point.
If you're training in the gi or with clothing in general, essentially it's just like ropes hanging on your body and ropes hanging on your partner's body. You can use them against them. You can use yours against your partner. You can use his or hers against your partner. And they can do the same thing. They're essentially another point of connection.
Hmm.
And so if you look at the gi, just think about it literally like visualize a rope hanging around your neck and one around your wrist, and there's also one hanging off your shoulder, and they're all over the place. And you can find them. They're like tension lines that run from the point of connection you have in your hand to some part of their body, and allows for a lot of control. Speaking of control, for grappling, it seems to be all about immobilizing the spine. You need to immobilize the spine. This is why it's more useful to put somebody on the ground typically, because that's a flat surface and it's hard for them to move if they're pressed up against a wall. So
Yeah.
you want to immobilize the spine to get control of the shoulders or the hips or the neck so that you can isolate something and restrict it or break it. Um, for breaking, you need to have control of the space above and below the thing you're
Right.
breaking. You
Three
need to,
points. I've heard that. 3 points of contact,
yeah, you need to
or like
understand
2
precisely
points and then the
and
breaking point.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And you need to, so, but sometimes it's a twisting motion. It's not always a straight, like hinge joint
Right,
lever kind of
because we
thing.
can do this too,
Right. And there are things like
like
Americanas and
this.
Kimuras,
Yeah.
and that's different. Or heel hooks are not really They're not. A lot of times these things are named poorly. Like the heel hook is not attacking the heel; it is predominantly attacking the knee.
Right.
And so you need to understand really braking mechanics and anatomically, what are you attacking and how? And I think that this is where it's useful to have a partner um, and really just study that like without resistance. Like just actually study the way the joints work and the way they don't, and
Yeah.
how you can lock them up, bind them up, and break them. Um, I mean, oh, chokes. Yeah, the windpipe and the two arteries, these do not demand like you don't need to have brute strength to close these things off. Again, what you need is precision. You need
Yeah.
accuracy. If you're doing head and arm choke, for example, I see everybody pushing super hard on their head and arm chokes in the wrong direction.
Right. Yeah.
And
Knowing. Yeah.
e- everybody does it when they first learn it. They all push up towards like the crown of the head. It
Right.
has
Like,
nothing to do with that. I can lift
right.
my feet off the ground, push zero, and just go straight in towards the throat and just restrict those with minimal force and demonstrate that in front of a room full of people. And then immediately, literally everyone will do exactly what I told them not to do and start pushing up into the crown of the head as hard as they can.
Yeah. So this reminds me of at least a couple things that, as you were talking, I thought of that might also some contributions that I have um, in the fighting domain. One, like for example, I tell the story about I was in a Brazilian jiu-jitsu gym in San Francisco, and there was a guy in there, and he was one of those strong guys, like kind of stocky bodybuilder type, but like ridiculously strong. But one of his problems that I could see was because of his strength, there was no way in hell he was going to give that up. Now, what I saw from my perspective was that in training, if he were to give up his ability to be strong and start to learn to move like guys that aren't as strong, if he learned how to move, how to have timing, how to have that leverage, and then put it back into his game, my God, that would be terrible. He would be
Mm-hmm.
terrible. Like
Mm-hmm.
imagine like a really strong guy that can move like Marcelo Garcia or something like that, or Mikey Musumeci or
I
some of
think
these
that's
other
what the really,
guys.
really good people are. I mean, the really good
Yeah,
heavyweights are like that. That's what makes them really good.
yeah, it's fucking dangerous. It's really dangerous. So then how do you get that kind of skill? I think all the guys that I've rolled with that are like that, it's like they don't need they have a light touch, but they know exactly where to put things for maximum effect. And they just go right there and it's good. So it's like a force multiplier. How do you learn to do that? I think try to do the maximum with the minimum amount of strength. If you train like that, it will force you to learn pathways that
Mm.
are very efficient. And then, like, because that came up when you're talking about the choke, because there's a difference between a black belt choking you and a white belt choking you. It's the same choke, but the black belt knows exactly how to line everything up. They feel it. It's very precise. And then they do exactly what they need to do. And it's so learn that. That would be good. Another thing that I thought of was, and this applies to like the judo domain. You know, in judo, when if you're going with somebody and you just go to try to do a throw,
It
it
never works.
never fucking works. You have to set it up first and or get them to react to something to put them in trouble. And
Yeah.
this is a trainable skill. First, recognizing that that's a possibility, and then second, you have to start to look for these things. Okay, if I do this, they do that, then you can do something. Or if I do this, they do that, they do this, they do that, then the thing.
Mm.
Or like Gordon Ryan, said, like he basically tells you what he's doing when he's fighting. He says, I present them with a bunch of dilemmas.
Mm-hmm.
So if you present, and ergo, you put them on the shit end of the stick, and and if you get good at this, you can put them on the shit end of the stick and you know what they're going to do, or you know about two or three things what they're going to do next before they even do it, because you know if you go here, they have to go here or get tapped out. They have no option. They have to move. Because you know they have to move, like I do shit like this in boxing. Like I go here, I can feel what kind of punch they're going to be throwing. Because I have that knowledge, I know what's about to happen. This is good.
Yeah.
So
Get
you
good
have to
practice
train that.
partners. Study a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. Good
Stay at it.
training partners. I think for some of this other stuff, you might need open-minded training partners. I don't know,
Yeah.
because we're weird.
All
And we don't
kinds, all
care.
kinds of training partners. I think it's good to have open-minded
And,
ones. I think it's good to have really like tough people. I
yeah,
think it's
training
also
everybody.
really useful to have people that you're a lot better than, and it's useful to have people that are a lot better than you. I think it's useful to have all kinds.
Yeah.
You get different things from different experiences.
Yeah. I really cherish personally my times when I've got to roll with guys that are really good,
Hmm.
because that sets my bar in a better place.
But if you only rolled with them, you just get dominated continuously unless they made an extra special effort to, you know,
This is
it
true.
be.
So then one useful thing would be to rewire my brain on that kind of domination. And if I could sit in that
Mm,
and not get totally overwhelmed with the fact that I'm getting my ass kicked again and again and again and again, that might be powerful.
yeah, that's more like just be willing to be in a beginner state for anything,
Yeah.
and be willing to
Gotta,
suck at something
yeah, be
for
willing
long
to eat
enough to
shit
get
for
good
a
at
long
it.
time. Yeah. And that's okay. And that's okay. Yeah. I would definitely recommend that.
Mm.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. There,
Could go
does any,
deeper in, but there's more. But
yeah, I think so. Let's see. Anything else about training? About the learning part, when you're learning to help you learn faster in the physical stuff, the main thing is, well, one, shut the fuck up in there.
Mhm.
Like I don't know how many times I tell people like, look, dude, just listen to what the teacher says, not what you're saying about what the teacher says. Listen to them. Pay attention out there, not in here. And if it's body stuff, feel along. Imagine like you're in their body doing the thing. Feel it, because you're the quote unquote language that your brain talks when you're learning physical shit is the feeling language. It's not language. It's not like words. It's the feeling shit. So if you tell your nervous system we're doing this, you're going to learn that much faster than if you're like trying to look out from in here, memorize a vision of what's there, and then take that vision and then maybe remember the words and then try to do it. It's better just to go direct to the feelings.
You can't learn to fight by just doing rote techniques. So if you're
No,
at an Aikido school, probably you're never going to learn to fight. And if you're at a jiu-jitsu school where predominantly what they do is drill against non-resisting opponents. Sorry, I have tweezers in my hand for some reason. I know
that's
you're
great.
looking at
Tweezers away.
that. I'm just, haha.
He's like, oh, you got a
Um,
tweezer technique. Oh, fuck you.
Yeah, tweezer technique. Anyway, you're not gonna learn good grappling, I don't think, ever if predominantly what you do is static drilling.
No, you have to
There
fight.
you have to, yeah,
Roll.
you have to, that's why I'm a big proponent of some version of the ecological approach. You need to be interacting live with people a lot
Right.
in order
Same in
to
Cheng
get
Hsin.
it on.
You do techniques and then you do the. Now, here's one big fucking thing that I see in gyms. You go into the class, right? You do your warm ups, you do the shit, and then they show a technique, and then you go roll. Now, does anybody try the technique when they roll? Usually not.
And if they do, they get shut down real fast.
Yeah.
Because if the technique is too long and elaborate, that means it has many, many, many steps where it can break down.
Yeah.
And if you're new at implementing that technique and you've never done it before against a resisting person, you don't really have any skill at stopping someone from just screwing up your technique.
Yeah.
And any Joe Schmo will be able to do it. So it's rare.
Yeah.
So
So
I
my
yeah.
answer to that is fucking do it. Try anyway. You'll fail, but try, because you need to start telling, if you're learning, if you want to just roll, that's fine. But for the learning, try it. Try it. You need to start telling your brain to that in this chaotic situation, start looking for that. If that, if you're trying to learn a new technique, you need to apply the technique to the live situation. And it's hard to do it in a live situation because you're getting choked, you're getting smothered, you're not going to be able to think as clearly. It's a challenge, but for the learning part, you need that.
I'm gonna have to, maybe we're not in disagreement, but but it sounds like I have a different perspective.
I
So let it be
yeah,
as it may.
here's what I think it is.
What?
I think it's there's a better way to train than just showing a long string of techniques that could get shut down. Like you could train the first step.
Yeah. I really, or the last. Start with
Sure.
the last step and
Yeah.
work your way backwards. If you want to learn a long string of techniques, start with the last step and make sure you've got that down,
Can you
and
give me
then
a
move
quick
on.
example?
Say you want to do a rear naked
Yeah.
choke. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, first make sure you can actually just sink the rear naked. Okay.
Yeah.
Before you do anything else. Because if you can't do that, then you're going to get there and you won't know what to do. And then, can you do the rear naked when somebody's resisting and somebody's doing everything they can to pull their arms off of you?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Or pull your arms off of them, rather. Okay. And then do the rear naked from, okay, you have their back, you have your hooks in, and you
But you
have
don't.
one
Sorry,
underhook,
I'm jumping
but you
ahead.
don't have a lock on their neck yet.
He made a
Yeah.
sound like that.
So and then you go back from there. Well, like say, can you get the rear naked when you don't have control of one of their arms, or you don't have both of your hooks in, etc. Like go backwards in that way,
Mm.
and then try to build back up into the rear naked, and then you can do that with live resistance, and you'll learn to get it from the very beginning against real live resistance, and your rear naked choke is going to become much more reliable and battle tested
Mm.
because you're learning it from the beginning, and then you've taught yourself a sequential technique, so to speak, that's not a technique because it's actually just a series of fights
Right. So
that you
you're
have
talking about
experience
you
playing in.
start it and then say, here, all right, here's the basic position. Now go.
Right.
Like try to get out
Yeah.
and sink it. Okay. And then one step removed maybe.
Yeah,
Okay,
exactly.
now go and fight, sink kind of
Yeah.
thing. And then two steps removed, like hooks in, no hands, just so I'm tracking you. Now go. And
Right.
then it's a whole different deal. So yeah,
Yeah.
interesting. And what is this, the ecological? What is this called?
That
What
would
type
be
of
a
training is this?
variation of the ecological approach, or yeah, one way to implement the ecological approach that could fit within, the constraints-based approach, the other word for the
Yeah.
ecological approach. But I've seen other people suggest similar things when learning submissions, like what's his name from the Villain podcast, the British guy, I can't remember his name. Damn,
Is he
I'm
in
gonna
London?
remember.
Because our emailer Lavani is in London.
Yeah. He's on he goes to the Globetrotters thing all the time.
British.
He's like, I think he's a fireman in his real life.
What's his name?
Anyway, he's got the Villain podcast. The Villain podcast. BJJ Villain podcast. I forget his name, but he teaches submissions in that respect. And
British
I think it's
villains.
no, Villain podcast.
Uh,
Villain podcast.
huh. Bit, motherfucker. uh, God damn, no. Villain podcast BJJ guy in UK.
Yeah, I would, if you YouTube him. Here, I'm gonna try.
I just see villain cast Chris the Villain Payne?
Chris Paynes. Yeah, that guy.
Chris
Chris
Payne's.
Paynes.
Okay.
Yeah, so he teaches in a lot of interesting ways, and that's the way that he teaches submissions, and I love it.
Head coach
That's
at Fighting Fit Grappling BJJ.
yeah.
Okay. We can
My
link his
submissions
stuff down there.
have improved a lot based upon just training that method. Like I didn't even have to follow all of what he said specifically about each submission. I just had to take that methodology of
Yeah.
like building the submission backwards.
Right. The
St-
approach to the training makes a difference, like how you approach it. And
yeah,
you approach your training with intelligence and like, because this is a bit could be a bit counterintuitive, but in my mind, I'm like, oh yeah, that's fucking great.
right. And
That's
like
great.
Cheng
Makes
Hsin
total sense.
Cheng Hsin techniques, like most of the throws and the uproots and stuff like that, the final part is some simple, relatively simple expression of effortless power, compression or stretch, or like a spiral energy.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you practice that in effortless power training, which is against a non-resistant opponent.
Yes.
Okay. The hard part is actually all of the joining, the leading, the following that leads to that
Yeah.
technique. But if you don't know how to do the effortless power part, the likelihood of you muscling it at the end to get it, which is very easy because, come on, we're not really resisting when we do Cheng Hsin most of the time, is pretty easy to fake most of the techniques with some muscle at the end. But if you really want to have a clean uproot, if you really want a nice throw, you need to understand your effortless power. So you've got to spend time doing just effortless power training. And I think it's sort of the same thing with submissions in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Just get down and like do some submissions and find out exactly where they line up and where they don't, and then start moving backwards from there.
Yeah. Nice. Nice. And then adding to the effortless power, and then I think we can move on from this topic. And thank you. So we'll link that, and then let's link other resources. Maybe you could send me a list of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu resources that you know of.
Okay. Alrighty.
Like just a few, I guess.
Sure.
If you're Globetrotters, this guy and UK.
I think checking out the ecological approach and checking out the, what do they call that? The Outlier Database. If you want to take responsibility for learning your own grappling and really getting good, then enroll a small group of training partners, or start your own gym. Enroll a small group of training partners within your gym or wherever you can train. Get on the Outlier Database, look at some Greg Sauders stuff, some Ecological Approach, and that will provide you with huge amounts of tools. And if you've trained Cheng Hsin, you'll develop, I think, very quickly. You can do your own research at a rate that's like optimal for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. Thank you very much. That's great. Moving on. So, effectiveness in other areas. So, human effectiveness.
Keep breathing.
Yeah, make sure the air goes in and out of your lungs. But basically, yeah, I guess like once we get going, there's so much stuff to look at in terms of human effectiveness. But the first thing that we have on our list is integrity. And I'm going from, like, John was an apprentice. I was an apprentice for many years, and you know, we build people in a sense. Like yeah, we take people that have less human power and then transform them, and or like, we don't transform anybody, of course. It's like they do it themselves. We invite them to consider things and operate in ways that are transformative. But we thought one of the main things is integrity. Now, what's integrity? It's the main way that manifests is keep your fucking word. Keep your word. What you say is the same as what you do. The inside matches the outside. So you have integrity as a human being. Now, one of the things in Cheng Hsin that we try to do is get people to grasp the reality of integrity, which is the same reality that applies to objects. If an object has integrity, guess what? It's stronger. It fulfills its function better. It operates better. It's just, as a whole, more powerful. If you put a crack in a vase It just one crack, the whole thing starts to become weak, falls apart. Now, the same thing is true of people. You see, it's just we take for granted what people are. We usually don't look into what makes a people or a person. So you think there's people out there. We don't know.
So
people
yeah,
can
like
have integrity.
so like there's so many different ways to talk about integrity, but yeah, I think that's spot on when we're talking about human beings and effectiveness, integrity in spoken word
Yeah,
and written word and thinking to oneself word
sure, you could do
is
that.
all of that is actually really, really beautifully important. Remember last time I said that I think I said something like this, like people talking or like language is sort of like tiger stripes. Like tigers do stripes and we do language. Like
Yeah, I
it's
would deepen that, or like we do concept.
okay, yeah.
You
We
know,
do
because language
abstraction,
comes
right?
out of that. So,
Language comes out of that, yeah. But we do
or
concept,
it
we do
requires our
abstraction,
ability to conceptualize, and we're good at that shit.
and so our abstraction, which our language is a part of, we need to recognize number one that we are agentic in that we are the generators of that.
What does
You are the one
agentic
who's
mean?
responsible for thinking your thoughts, for feeling your feelings,
Yeah,
even for
sorry, can I
perceiving your
pause you? Sorry
perceptions.
to
Yeah.
pause you. What word did you use?
I
Agentic?
use agentic, like an agent. An
Oh,
agent to me
agentic.
is,
Oh, cool. I
yeah,
just had never heard that before. Uh,
you're at the source. Maybe I'm not using the word correctly,
no,
which would be
I'm
an
just
opportunity for me to fix my
agentic. In
integrity.
general terms, means being capable of acting independently or having the ability to make decisions and take actions on one's own behalf. Right. Yeah, you're the
There you
fucking
go.
cause of that stuff.
So when you realize that you're the one who determines your mood, you're the
Right.
one who determines your outlook on life.
Yeah.
Okay. And this is all internal integrity based upon what you tell yourself verbally and even pre-verbally.
Yeah.
And then you express that to others. And this is no different than a tiger moving through the jungle left instead of right. It's a choice and an action. It's like a physical action. You might as well just go with it's a physical action, even if it's only happening on a
Well, it's an
cerebral
activity. Like,
neurological level. Yeah, it's an
sure,
activity.
it's an
You're
activity.
engaged in it.
Some.
You're at the source of it. So
Yeah.
be at the source of it, and then you realize that your actions must be in conjunction with your objectives, and your actions include your spoken word
Right. That's
or your
how. Yeah.
thought word or your written word or your typed word, whatever.
Yeah. That's how we talk about it here. It's like it's a speech act. But the precision with which I give my word makes a difference. If I tell somebody I'm going to be there at 9, I'll be there at 9. I'm there.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and then getting rigorous with that. You don't think about people. So integrity, the spiel that I give people, or when I work with others, it's like, look what happens. I don't know. I had an ex-girlfriend. I was up in Seattle for a while, and a lot of people up there. Oh, I'll be there. No, I don't even know. It's like, oh, I'll be at the party. I'm having a party later. You gonna come? Oh yeah, sure, I'll come. They don't show up. Huh. Now, that's a simple thing. Oh, what's the big deal? What's the big deal? Yeah? Well, now how do you think of that person? How do you think about what that person, when they open their mouth, what do you think? Are they powerful? Nope.
Can't trust them.
Can't trust them.
Yeah.
You know, you say something to yourself in your mind and then don't do it. Guess what? Do you trust what you say in your own head?
Do you
Nope.
trust yourself?
Yeah. Do you trust yourself? Nope. You see, these are consequences, and there's a consequence to having integrity, and there's a consequence to breaking it. If you like the quality of life that you have when you have integrity, you have to abide by those rules. And so we try to get guys to get that, because people are usually very sloppy with what they say. Oh, yeah, I'll be there. But it's like, if I told somebody I was going to be somewhere, I take this shit seriously, and it registers. Like, I think actually this guy, well, he's like, yeah, Brendan doesn't lie.
Mm-hmm.
You know, or there's a trust usually, as far as I can tell, that people have with me or with this work. Why do you think the trust is there?
Yeah, and there's a
It's
big
a high
difference
level of
between,
integrity.
it's still technically, you're 1 minute late, but like there's breaking down your integrity and there's breaking down your integrity, and there are degrees.
Yeah.
And the more integrity you have about anything in any domain, the better everything is going to work.
Yeah. Yeah. So do that. And then you brought up in, like, I think you went through several things at the beginning of us talking about integrity that made me think, like, one principle that was in there when you said agentic
Agentic.
with the agent was responsibility is another principle.
Yeah.
Which is, and like, whose experience am I having? It's my experience. If you don't like your experience, change it.
Mm-hmm.
There's some stuff you cannot control, but you can control how you relate to that stuff that you can't control. And most people, as far as I can tell, operate on the shit end of the stick. They're a victim of their circumstances. Their emotions are caused by the circumstances. They have no choice in their emotions. You can operate that way, but it's much more powerful to operate in a way, and none of it's true at the end of the day. None of it's a true thing. This is a relative deal we're talking about.
Yeah.
But one's more powerful than the other. So if you want that power and effectiveness as a human being, be responsible for your fucking shit. Oh, that's right. He asked me to Brendanese it.
Yeah.
You got shit going on in your experience. It's fucking you doing it. You don't like it, change it. But take responsibility for your experience. That's powerful. It's more powerful.
I think just those two things right there, responsibility and integrity, and everything else is just going to come one way or another off of that. Maybe. I mean, let's look at them and prove me wrong.
Take a look. That's an interesting,
let's look at a few.
I hadn't thought of it that way. I wonder if that's true or not.
Maybe it's not. But we could take a look, and I'm willing to be wrong.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, no, interesting. Yeah, that, like, those two things, that would do a lot. And then honesty seems to be in there in terms of, you know, I can only have a certain degree of integrity to the degree to which I can probably be honest with myself about what I'm doing, what's really going on. Like, if I'm honest, here's a way I mess around with honesty. Like, I think I'm a person, right? Or what I think I am. I could be lying about that. And what I mean by that is, you know, somebody that's like, they're a victim. I use that victim thing a lot. They're actually lying to themselves about what they really are.
Yeah.
Like, so they think they are the victim, but if they tell the truth, they would have to at some point acknowledge that they are not a victim, because that's not what they are.
So is honesty a kind of integrity? It's like integrity with the truth, as best you see it honestly.
Yeah, sure. Or being aligned with what's true.
Yeah.
And then having integrity with that. You know, that's, I could do that, sure. And I hesitate to make, because we're laying out a bunch of stuff, but then I also see that we're making structures or conceptual schematics.
Yeah, fuck it. Good. Just go ahead and have them both. Be honest and have integrity.
Yeah, do that too.
And be responsible. Yeah. Do it all, and you can make whatever structure or no structure.
Yeah, and that'll kick some ass for sure. It'll help. Like, in terms of power here, like power as a human being. Because that's some of the main stuff that I do when I work with apprentices. We clean them up like that. No, don't say anything out your mouth that you're not going to do. Oh. If you tell somebody casually, like, you know, I'm dating someone. She's got a daughter. I was supposed to have, I had an appointment with Vimeo, actually. I got on with some guys at Vimeo because now here's an interesting thing. A real quick sidebar. I was posting shit on Instagram because Vimeo, I use Vimeo for business. And then I posted some stuff on Instagram, like ripping on Vimeo because I'm like, Vimeo, what the fuck? I have this, but I don't have this. And come on, and da 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 da. Somebody from Vimeo actually reached out. And I was
Oh,
on with,
wow.
yeah, I was on with this guy. I guess I don't need to say his name. He's actually from France originally, but he's like one of their people that works there. And he like took my feedback over a call and then gave me an Amazon gift card. It's pretty sweet.
That's
But they
beautiful.
actually like took my feedback. I'm like, I hope you guys do something about it. Anyway, what's my point? I used Instagram to get a hold of these people, and then they reached back out. But why am I telling you this?
I don't know. You were like girlfriend. She's got a daughter.
Oh,
I mean,
right. Yeah, girl, and her daughter had a seizure,
God,
and so I was like, "Fuck!" But I missed my appointment with this guy.
understandable.
And yes, and it is totally. But I was still. My first words, "I'm sorry for wasting your time." I said I would be there. I fucked up. I forgot. And then everybody would let that slide. Now, I am glad for what I did because I wanted to be there for my partner and her daughter.
Yeah.
And that was
It would have been against your integrity to abandon your, no, babe, sorry, you handle it. I'm gonna go to my Vimeo call.
Right.
That would not have been within your integrity.
Right. Here's where I had a problem with that was I didn't tell this person, hey, I can't be here. I forgot.
Did you have an opportunity?
I had plenty. I forgot.
Ah.
See, that's a problem. Now, most people, I'm just saying there's as if levels to this shit. You remember, Levani, there's levels to this shit. It's like, I should have been responsible for that. Now, most people, and he was understanding, of course, go take care of family. I get it. But I should have said something. Sorry, my leg's broken. I can't make it. I've got to go to the hospital to get it amputated. All right, I can pass out now. Like that kind of shit.
That's hardcore integrity, man.
Yeah, that's different.
I don't think I think that's a level of integrity. We're talking like samurai warriors and masters. Oh, Cheng Hsin people. Yeah.
That's right. That's the Cheng Hsin bare minimum standard.
That's hardcore. Yeah. I would give anyone a pass if their kid or their girlfriend's kid was having a seizure.
Yeah, me too.
Or if they broke their leg. I'm not gonna fucking be like, you should have told. No.
Yeah, no. Yeah. And we're hardcore, but it's like I have space for that. I'm not ripping on myself. I'm just sharing that mindset. I should have said something.
Yeah.
And I helped. Like, no, that was the right and important thing to do. It's like, fuck, they need me in that sense. So there's that stuff. So yeah, consider integrity like that. That will kick some ass. Another biggie, the do it now principle, or the Sarah Jane Tyler special, the GSD, get shit done. Do it. Obvious. And more profound as I get older and realize as I try to get more powerful. Action. It can be summed up with that simple word, like action. And it's like, oh, I don't know. Somehow I had a different relationship to it than I do now, where it's like, it's so simple. Go out, do the thing. You need, like, you know, I'm building a house. Build the house. A lot of people, I couldn't do that. No, you could. You just go do it.
Yeah.
No, but I don't know how. Go learn how, then do. Very simple. Yeah. Oh, but I didn't feel like it. Were you doing it? No. Do it. Oh, but I couldn't because so you didn't do it. No, I didn't because so you're still not doing it right. I'm telling a story. Yeah, but well, do the thing. Yeah. It's like action is so simple, and
nothing gets done without it.
Yeah, you can't do, and it's like It doesn't. So make a distinction between action and all the other shit that goes around it, and notice that they are not in the same domain.
Mm.
There's the worrying about taking action. There's the putting the action off. There's the how I feel about the action.
Finding the motivation.
Finding the motherfucking motivation. You're fucking triggered. And then
I would do it, but first I need to solve my issues.
First, I need to solve my like more and more. I'm seeing that's like I was walking down from doing something outside, and I was like, what if I just aligned to the gods of action? Like gave myself up to the god of action, the principle, if you will. You see, like
Aries. Wait, who's the god of action? Aphrodite?
Yeah. There are different kinds of
Depends
actions.
kind of the
What
action.
kind of actions are we talking about? You see, but like so take action, get the shit done, and then we have that do it now, which is you're gonna do something. The time when you're gonna do the thing is always gonna be now anyway, so you might as well do it now.
Don't delay, start today. Stop watching motivational videos and self-help gurus. I mean, except for this channel.
Right.
Stop.
Totally this channel.
Stop watching people telling you that you need to do all these things to do the thing that you want to do. Just do the thing that you want to do.
Yeah, or give it a fucking go try it out. And then for a while. And then do it. And or like I was just thinking about myself because I'm working on plumbing right now. And I don't I'll sit down for like an hour. I'm like, okay, this hole's got to go here, but is it going to work? And I have to think through, okay, what appliance is going to go where?
Yeah.
Where's that drain? Where's the vent? Where's the other appliance? And how does that drain going to go? And then where's the vent going to go? Now, where are the ceiling joists? And I'm doing all this figuring just to do
Yeah. So it's useful to make the distinction between blind, thoughtless action, frivolous action, stupid action, and well thought out, well considered, planned action. Sometimes the action you need to take is investigative. It's planning.
Learning.
It's questioning. It's learning. That's not solving your. That's not what we always call wasting your time. That's investing your time. You need to do that. If it's a complicated task like building a house, you don't just walk out there and grab a bunch of mud and throw it. I mean, wait.
Yeah, I mean, you can, but you're going to end up with that kind of house, and I don't want that.
Yeah. So there's different kinds of action, and sometimes what you need to do a lot of the time, depending on the project, it's very conceptual.
Yeah.
The action that you need to take it doesn't look like hard manual labor. It isn't, but it is labor nonetheless.
Yeah. Got to do those things. So yeah, and there's something very if you study people that do stuff in the world, they do stuff. They get out there, they put themselves out into the world, or I think it's a DaVinci quote, I'm not sure, but it's something like this, which I thought was great, was anybody who's done anything noteworthy, they tend to happen to the world. They don't let the world happen to them. And
yeah.
I'm like, oh yeah, and I'm actually working on that a bit. It's like, oh no, allow yourself to impact others. So it's an outward rather than the world happens to me. And you can make that switch and go do stuff. And yeah, so you can just decide. So get shit done, and then that's the thing. It's like, fucking do the thing. There's a thing that you say you want to do. Go do it. There's a power in there. Let's see. Time wise, we're still good for another maybe 5-10 minutes.
Okay.
But maybe we could do another. We could do another session.
Yeah, we can.
Through.
We could close this down or just do another point and then.
Yeah, I think.
Do a part 2.
Yeah, I think that's a great. Let's do that. Delayed gratification.
Mm.
This
Yeah.
is another power. And I mean, I'm learning about this. There's the marshmallow thing where, have you heard this about kids? They've done a study of kids. I hear tell. If anybody's out there, look it up, link me, whatever. But they would give a kid a marshmallow and then say, okay, you can eat the marshmallow now, or if you wait, you can get 2 marshmallows.
Yeah.
And there seems to be a correlation between the kids who could wait for the second marshmallow and their success later in life.
Yeah.
Which checks out to me. Because like there are only certain things that you can build if you do something again and again and again and again and again with no end in sight for a while. Like if you want to build up a body, like bodybuilder, you have to be able minimum to start seeing some changes 6 weeks. You got to train for weeks before something starts to change. Or like building anything.
A multi-billion-dollar tech company.
Yeah, multi-billion-dollar tech company. It's like you don't just snap your fingers and it's built, or Rome wasn't built in a day. There's a reason why this wisdom is around. It's because that's the law. That's the law around these parts. It's like you don't, and that requires an ability to delay gratification. You don't get the thing until you put in the time and the time and the time, and then you get it. And that's a power.
Yeah. And in your development, if you want something that's durable, by definition, you don't cut corners. Yeah. You build things from the very beginning even though it's going to take for fucking ever, you build it with the end vision in mind, and you build it strong and robust.
Yeah.
And with something grand in mind, so that you're not just going for quick fixes. Yeah. That's not going to help you, because shit's going to break down along the way. Mm-hmm. It's inevitable. Chaos and entropy are going to enter into your domain, whatever that is. And so the more prep you do in the beginning, the get shit done now principle, and get the right shit done and good shit done, the less you have to do, the more later on, the more power it has, etc. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Good shit, man. Well, yeah, we should wrap it up there, because I've got to go do a doctor's appointment in a little bit. So yeah, we can do a part 2. We've got a bunch of bullet points. So there you go. Now, none of this makes any difference unless you do something about it. There's the action principle again. None of what we've said, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu or otherwise, makes a fucking difference, period, unless you do it. I wish it were another way. I wish we could just think about it and then it would make it.
I don't.
But you don't what?
I don't wish that it was another way. I'm happy it's this way. Okay. I prefer it this way.
Yes.
It's better.
Well, it's the only way it works. See, and his perspective is a better one.
I love it. It feels better. It's very satisfying to work at something and to have real accomplishment and achievement, and be able to feel and notice, all the time and the energy and the, sweat, blood, and tears that you put into something. It's actually very satisfying. If it was immediate gratification, you wouldn't fucking care, and no one else would either.
Yeah, and you see, that's an interesting, I think what you reveal in saying that is there's something underneath that, which we'll go into with these other points, but it's there's a fucking consequence to that. When I walk into my house, in the background, I'm like, fuck yeah, I did that. That is some badass shit right there. I mean, it's not done. that's the surface level. I'm not done, and it's taking me so much time, self-judgment, criticism, whatever. But underneath it, it's like every screw in that house, I know where it is. You know, I had help, so not every screw, but it's like I fucking put that in the ground from zero. You know, or you're building something. It's like, yeah, I built that. I fucking did that. That's good shit. You know?
Yep.
So you have to take action. So now if you want this to be powerful, try some of the stuff out. Like in the BJJ, any one of those points, you could spend a long time. And then this personal effective stuff, any one of those you could spend a while working on and see how it changes your life. But you gotta fucking do it. Otherwise, it's just entertainment. Okay, so that's it for this podcast. Look out for more. Levani, thanks for the questions. Keep kicking ass out there. Do good shit.
Come do a workshop.
Come to a workshop. We don't do anything with use of, okay, this would be more apprentice-like stuff if you want to do that. Or we have a 3-month training program or the winter retreat where we do the martial stuff. And I am also doing a 3-month training program here. So if you want to get really serious and live here for 3 months, sign up for that. You're invited. Cool. Thanks, man.
Thank you.